In case of hotels, sometimes the ones that use cards are not that great. For example, it happened to a female family member of mine once that the receptionist gave access to a man to the same room. He was a stranger to her. She pretty much kicked him out, but he wasn't aggressive. Imagine if he was. Hi, you are listening to the AK Compass, guiding listeners through evolving ideas, directions. Your hosts are Karolina, Czako, communications and sustainability expert with 10 years living abroad and a love for traveling.
And Ágnes Gárdonyi, journalist who regularly covers many sustainability and travel-related topics.
In this podcast, we will discuss exciting destinations and social and environmental topics from all around the world, along with related non-political current affairs. Our goal is to provide informative and engaging interviews about travel, sustainability, and more.
We will bring you many people from different walks of life, sharing their stories from trips and living abroad. We also invite experts from all across the sustainability sector.
We would like to thank our sponsor, the Sweet Home Studio, for making this podcast possible. Their mission is to bring important social topics to Hungarian audiences. They also give new podcasters a great price to support more valuable content. They are based in Budapest, offering full technological support and a great space to make podcasts.
In this episode, Karolina will share her tips for traveling safely. Safe travel is important for everyone, but it can be especially significant for women who may face additional safety concerns while traveling. Being aware of surroundings, planning ahead, and knowing basic safety practices can help travelers feel more confident and secure. Promoting safe travel also encourages inclusive tourism, where everyone can explore new places without fear. What does safe travel mean to you when visiting a new place?
For me, safe travel means researching safe areas up front, prioritizing central but quiet parts of the neighborhoods with good airport or train connections, but not right next to them. I check common scams, aim for daytime arrivals, and pre-plan the safest route to the accommodation if arriving at night. I travel solo in familiar Europe, but prefer groups or companions in less known spots where I stand out more as a tourist, like Peru, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Costa Rica, where I took group trips, or China, where I was with a family member, but we had mixed feelings about our security because there was intense attention, but also some kind of encounters. Keep in mind, I also have been to Harbin, which was off the beaten path in China, so locals were very surprised to see white Caucasian-looking people.
So you really sound like an experienced traveler in not overall safe places. What should you do first when researching a new destination for travel?
First, I scan flight options alongside guest houses or small hotels in safe central locations to balance security and time, not far out stays that waste hours of commuting. Then I watch recent videos for travelers, especially solo female travelers, and read forums for real experiences, ensuring that my choices are safe and practical. And I also research the hotels or guest houses for various aspects that are important for me, for example, security, and also how quiet the area is.
That all sounds like it takes up a lot of time, but I guess it's worth it.
It's always worth it.
How can you stay aware of your surroundings in crowded or unfamiliar areas?
Looking at maps with real street view helps. For example, the oriented station in Lisbon had mixed reviews for safety, so it helped me a lot when I found the video and learned how to find the trains when I was going to Porto. I also use bags that are hard to open opportunistically. I don't really use earphones, or when I do, I use them in a discreet way, and I do not listen to anything through them, just listen to navigation information. So I still hear what's going on around me, and you can't really see the earphones under my hair, for example. Most of all, I use my intuition always, and I recommend other people to do that as well. If something or someone is sketchy, then just walk away and don't be scared to say no. You don't owe an explanation or anything. You don't even need to be nice if they're very pushy. And try to learn some of the language and enjoy your trip. Just always be aware of your surroundings and your bags and know where you are. If you don't know, check in a shop or cafe if you need to look at a map. Never on the street because it will mark you as a tourist quite easily. In London, for example, you shouldn't even have your phone out because it could get snatched easily. But if you must take out your phone, then you should stand right next to a wall, so at least you have that part covered. And if you have to stand outside, then just reach for your phone and check what you need quickly and stay out of the reach of vehicles, small motorcycles, and stay away from people as much as possible. It's also worth to mention that in many places, pepper sprays and other self-defense items are not allowed, but personal alarms and whistles are.
That's really good to know. What extra precautions should travelers, especially solo female travelers, take in general, and especially at night?
Try not to be out at night if you can manage, and try not to drink because you need to have your wits about you. And stay in it, and don't stay in areas with few people. Stay in crowded areas. If you need to travel at night, especially upon arrival with your bags when you're actually the most vulnerable, because of course you have bags, consider a pre-booked taxi, as I mentioned in the Trieste episode, and also check for safe public transit. This varies by city, so somewhere it's recommended, somewhere it's not. For example, Budapest is safe. Lisbon is relatively safe, but in other countries or cities, it might not be a good option. And also walk confidently and have your money, IDs, and cards in various places. There are many options to keep them on your body too, not just in your bags.
You've talked about that when you prepare for a travel, for a trip, you check out safer accommodations. But how can women travelers choose safer accommodations?
Well, you should research the hotels and the guest houses. And in case of hotels, sometimes the ones that use cards are not that great. For example, it happened to a female family member of mine once that the receptionist gave access to a man to the same room. He was a stranger to her. She pretty much kicked him out, but he wasn't aggressive. Imagine if he was. The closest I got to this was in Bratislava, but the hotel used the normal key, so no matter how hard the guy tried, he couldn't get in. He was really insistent. I also prefer hotels and guest houses to apartments because you have someone to help you if you need them. They are nearby. It's also useful to put a glass cup on the door handle because obviously it drops and makes a noise if someone tries to open the door. Some people use the dress hangers to secure the doorknob to the lock, but it depends on the design of the door. If you use one of those door alarms, the risk is that it can go off in your luggage and that can cause some trouble before the flight during loading, so I wouldn't recommend using them. Most of all, get to know the staff a bit and be kind to them. They will watch out for you more.
As we were talking about this topic, this all seems like you are always alert for anything that could happen, but just assure me that you do have fun on travels.
I do have fun. I just use common sense. And especially bags that can close and various methods to keep my valuables under my clothes actually do give me some sense of safety because, for example, if somebody tries to steal something from my bag, that might be considered pickpocketing. But if somebody tries to get things like, for example, under my clothes, like in secret pockets, that can turn into robbery. So they also risk more if you think about it.
And where did you take this kind of thinking or way of thinking? Why are you so prepared for all these dangers?
Because if I travel solo, I don't have anyone around me, and I would need to go to authorities and consulates to get help. And I also lived in London, which was not that safe at that time either. Actually, where I used to live, someone was killed a few years ago, even though it's supposed to be a safe area by London standards. And also Stockholm, where I used to live, safety began to degrade heavily during the time I was there.
So this is all based on your own experience and not just a fear of anything that's not even possible. These are all valid risks.
Yes, and you just need to be sure that if you're a solo traveler, that there's no one to turn to for money. It takes time to get insurance claims. You might be far from a consulate or from an embassy. They can help you. So you really just have to be a lot more careful for the single reason that you're alone. But I still enjoy my trips. This is just something that is part of my routine, so it's not like I'm stressing over it.
A little about my own experience. I totally agree that you should keep your belongings separately. For example, I do that as well from when I was a little girl. My parents taught me that you should keep a part of your cash in one baggage and another part in another baggage. And also, which I did just now when I was in Barcelona, I wrote up the address of my accommodation on a piece of paper in case my phone gets lost or I cannot charge it or something. So this is also something which you have to think about, that we are so relying on digital tools that if we lose them, we might get lost.
Actually, I do agree with that, and I also print out everything. And if you are in a country that uses a different alphabet, for example, in China, it can be a lifesaver to have the address both in the language you speak and then also in the local language and in the local alphabet. In Harbin, this made a difference between finding our accommodation and not.
Yes, because if you don't speak Mandarin or the local language, that could be a problem.
Absolutely. So it took our taxi driver several tries to find our accommodation, but we found it eventually.
Thank you, Karolina, for telling us all these important tips on traveling safely. See you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to share my tips and help fellow travelers and fellow female travelers to travel safely and enjoy their trip. Thank you, Aggie.
That was it for today's episode. You've been listening to AK Compass, guiding listeners through evolving ideas, directions. I'm Ágnes Gárdonyi.
And I'm Karolina, Czako. Subscribe, rate, review if you'd like to support us. Thank you for listening.